Now, without public static void main, public static void main is a main method, correct, right? Without a main method, can you execute the program? Without a main method, can you execute?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Ma'am.
100% no. 100% no. Okay, without a main method, I cannot execute. My program will get compiled, but my program will not get executed. A class which consists of a main method, that is called as a Java class. Correct? The class which consists of a public static void method, it is called as a main Java class. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, correct.
Yes,
Right. Next, we have testng class. What is this testng class? A class which consists of annotation test method. Okay, so this is called annotation test method. Okay, a class which consists of annotation test. This is at the rate, or we call it annotation. A class which consists of annotation test is called testng class. So we don't use public static void main. Why? Because using public static void main, I cannot achieve this. Look at this. I cannot achieve downloading, installation, priorities, invocation, escape, parallel execution, sequence. I cannot achieve this using public static void main. That is the reason I go with testng class. A class which consists of public static void main is called Java class. A class which consists of annotation test is called as testng class. Understood? Understood the difference between a Java class
Yes,
and testng class?
Yes, ma'am.
So, here execution takes place from the public static void main. But here execution will start taking place from annotation test method. Okay, here the execution takes place from annotation test method. Okay, now make a note of this diagram. A class which contains, you write the full form, the class which contains public static void main, you write it, is called as Java class. It is a Java class which contains the test method. Okay, this is called as testng class. Now one more is there. What is this test method? You write the question. What is test method? Any method which is developed using test annotation is called as test method. Copy this. Finished?
No, ma'am. Just
No, ma'am. Oh, write it fast. Understand, learn, and write it. Understand and write it. Guys, this is one of the easiest concept. Nothing is there. You have to just remember the steps. Here it has consist of tests. Logic, programming logic is nothing is right, but you have to remember the step by step. You have to remember the steps. Finished writing? Finished?
Yes,
Done,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now look here. For printing, till today for printing, you guys used to use system.sop statement, correct? Right? System.out.println. Use system.out.println used to print the message. Correct, right? This is how you have to use this. Now tell me, when you print this message will get printed in the console. Yes or no? Whatever you are giving the statement, you're
Yes,
printing
ma'am.
in the console, correct? But
Yes, ma'am.
look at this advantage. Look at this advantage. We have an advantage. What is that advantage? We can generate the report. We can generate the seventh point. Generate the report automatically. Now, look here. So if I write it, so I can use SOP statement, no, but the message will get printed only in the console. But the message will get printed only in the console. So instead of this, I am going to use reporter.log. I am going to use what? Reporter.log. I am going to write the message. Whatever message you want, you write the message, comma, true. Okay, I'm going to write the message, comma. This is syntax, true. Now, if I write it as true, it will print it in the console, okay, as well as it will print it in the report. It will print it in the console as well as it will print it in the console. Now, instead of this, if you write reporter.log, if I write it as message, comma, false. If I write a message, comma, false, that means it will print only in the report. It will not print it in the console. If you want to print it in report and console, you write it as what? Okay. If you want to write report and if you want to write it in console and report, you make it as true. If you want to print only in the report, you make it as false. Understood? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Please do this. Please do this. Guys, Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday and Thursday is your final mark. Okay. If you attend the final mark, only GitHub and Jenkins will be taught. GitHub, Jenkins, and interview questions, sample resume. If you guys wanted, attend the final mark. If you're not interested, if you don't want to GitHub, Jenkins, all these concepts, don't attend. When is your final mark? Wednesday and Thursday. Next Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm telling you 1 week prior, so you prepare. So any interviews, okay, I keep posting the requirements, right? Any requirements from now onwards, if you wanted to attend, your mock ratings is important. If you don't have a mock rating, they will not, at least you attend, get a rating 2 also, no fine. But without taking a mock, they will not allow you to any of the requirement. Remember that. Are you understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's okay. At least get a rating number 2. At least get a, you fail at least you answer one question. Without a mark, okay, if you, they will not give you requirements. Remember that. Okay, never will give. Then you cannot come back to me after a month's time. You cannot, ma'am, please take a mock. I will not take. When the time is scheduled, you should take a mock in your scheduled time only. Okay, finished? Completed
Yes,
with this?
ma'am.
Everybody copied? Understood till here?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now look here. People who are getting 1 star, who will give 1 star? See, I'm going to ask you the questions. See, I'm going to ask you questions, whatever is given at the back side. I've given you some set of questions, right? Those questions is mandatory. Okay. Differences also mandatory. You know, it's very easy. If you answer all the questions, your rating is 1. So whoever had whatever the requirements come, first priority will be given to you. 1. By mistake, if you didn't answer 1 question, 2 question, 1 or 2 questions, if you didn't answer, your ratings will be 1. Okay. If you didn't answer 1 or 2 questions, your rating is 1. So you will also be given a second priority. First priority for this people, second priority. If you're not answering, if you're answering only 1 or 2 questions, if you're not answering any other questions, your rating will be 2. Still you'll get, but you are will be third priority, last priority. Okay. So this person will get 10 interviews. This person will get 8 interviews. This person may get 2 to 5 interviews. Okay. 2 to 5 interviews this person will get. Understood? This is how the rating, depending on your rating. See, what we will do is, especially for freshers and experience, both. So experience anyway, we have drive. Okay. And you also should attend experienced people. Freshers, what we will do is, I will make this ratings, I'll give this document. What they will do, I will keep the requirements, whatever I get, they will not come to me because they will have a document with them. Since the mock is not happened to you, that is the reason I'm posting it in your group. Once the mock is done, I will not post any requirement in the group. They'll look into that Excel sheet. Whoever is having star students, they will give second like this. They will only pick up your names and you will get a calls randomly. So that's the reason. At least you get us 2 ratings. Don't come and tell I don't prepare. At least 1 question can't you answer? Can't you answer what is difference between find element, what is locators? Can't you answer these questions? Can't you answer these questions? If yes or no? If you don't take a mock, if you sit simply, no requirements, guys, they have made it very strictly. Mock is compulsory. They have made it very, 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 very strictly. If you have not answered, at least you attempt. Okay, don't come to me at the end and ask me to take mock. I will not take. Simple it is. Any requirement, if you guys want, mock is mandatory. When is your final mock? When is your final mock?
Next Wednesday.
Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday. That is next Wednesday and next Thursday is your final mock. Okay. And whoever attends only final mock, only for them, I'm going to teach you GitHub, Jenkins, okay, and your framework architecture, okay, all your resume points, sample resume, all these things I'll give it to you. People who don't take mock, no. Okay. Whoever is taken mock, you'll get a separate link to join the class. Okay. Then we will do this. So prepare well. Saurabh, have patience. When I come to that, I'll teach you. Okay. So, okay. So prepare for your mock. Prepare for your mock. Fine. Guys, okay?
Yes,
Can we continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let us go back. Let us start writing the program. Let us write because they have made it very strictly nowadays. That's the reason. Now, where is your WCS? Okay. Now look here. Let me create one class TestNG. Now look here. Observe carefully. Look at my screen. Don't select any public static void main. Remember, by mistake we have a tendency, right, to select always selecting public static void main. Please don't select public static void main here. Right. Annotation test. Public void, the name of a method. This is how you are going to write the annotation test method. Now, everybody look at my screen. Everybody should be looking at my screen. There is annotation test. Okay. There is what? Annotation test. Go place your cursor. Okay. There's a red line, right? Go place your cursor. 1 minute. Go place your cursor. Make a note. Make a note. Once after writing annotation test, place your cursor. Make a note in your notebook. Make a note. Once after writing annotation test, Once after writing annotation test, once after writing annotation test, place your cursor on annotation test. Place your cursor on annotation test and select the option called add testng libraries. Select the option called as what? Add testng libraries. What option will you select? What option will you select?
Add
Add
test NG library.
Add testng libraries. Next, one more point. Again, place your cursor. Once after clicking on add testng library, again place your cursor and import, make a note. Import testng from, copy line number 3. Import annotation test from, copy line number 3. Always remember in testng, always you need to do import statement from testng annotations only. Always you need to import from testng annotations only. Done? Copied? Understood?
Yes.
Done, copied, understood. Okay,
Yes,
now
ma'am.
look at my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Java, comma, true. Now tell me this hello Java, where now it will be printed? Where now this will get printed?
Console as well as report.
Console and report.
Console and report. It will get printed in the console and it will get printed in the report as well. Okay, first let me run the program. Let me run this program. Run it. Run it. Look at the console. Let us look at the console. Run it. Now look at the console view. It is something different. Is it printed hello Java in the console? Is it
Yes,
printed
ma'am.
hello Java? Okay, this is
Yes, ma'am.
printed. No, look at this. This is printed hello Java in the console and it is telling past demo. Demo past. Demo past means the name of a method. Look at here. The name of a method is what? Demo. So that's the reason it is telling demo past. So this is hello Java printed and past is demo. The number of test case ran is only 1. There is 0 failure, 0 skipped. Understood this console output?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now,
Yes, ma'am.
I told you that it will get printed in the report as well. Correct? Right? Make a note. Make a note in your book. Look at my screen. Make a note. Steps to generate the report. Make a note. Steps to generate the report. Steps to generate the report. Step number 1. Write the program and execute the program. First you need to write the program, then you should run it. Write the program and execute the program. Write the program and execute the program. Write the program and execute them. Write the program and execute the program. Later, look at my screen and make a note. Refresh the project. Right click on the project. Look at my screen first, then make a note. Right click on the project, then refresh. Right click on the project, refresh. Next. Once after refresh is done, test output folder is being generated. Once after you refresh, test output folder is generated. Test output folder is generated. Expand this folder. Expand this folder. Right click on emailable reporter.html. Right click on emailable reporter.html. Right click on emailable reporter.html. Hello guys, am I audible? Okay, so right click, open with web browser. Right click on emailable reporter.html, open with web browser. Open with web browser. See, you're able to see the report. You are able to see the report. Understood? How do you see the report? Understood everyone how to see the report?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, look at here. Look at here. This is called as fully qualified path. This is called as what? Fully qualified path. That is package name dot class name. Package name dot class name. Testng dot tester. That's package name and class name. Demo is nothing but a method name. Demo is a method name. So total all 124 milliseconds it has been taken and it has printed the message called hello Java. Everybody understood? Everybody, did you made a note in your notebook, the steps to create a report?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now let me go back. Let me go
Yes,
back to this. Now, let me create one more, this one. Reporter.log. Reporter.log. Now I'll write hello selenium, comma, false. Now tell me, this hello selenium, where now will it get printed?
Printed
Only
in the
Hello
report.
selenium, where now it will get
Will not be printed in the console.
Only printed in the report, not in
get printed
the
only
report.
in the report. Stop it. Look here. Let me execute this program. Let me execute this program. Let me execute. Execution is done. Now look here. Is it printed? Hello selenium is printed?
No, ma'am.
Hello selenium.
No, ma'am.
No. Tell me,
No, ma'am.
everyone, tell me the steps to generate the report.
Right click on the project
Right click on project and refresh.
and refresh.
Right click on the project.
And get refresh.
Okay. Next.
Once after the refresh,
Expand the test output.
expand the test output.
Right click on
Right click on emailable reporter.
report.html.
Open with web
Open
browser.
Open with web browser.
Web browser.
Is it printed? Is it
Yes,
printed?
ma'am.
Hello Java and hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Understood? Everybody understood how do you generate a report and how do you print the statement? This is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Write a program. Everybody write a program and generate a report. Write the program, run it, generate the report. Okay. Learn in the class. People who are attending a drive. drive. People who are attending the drive, please learn it in the class itself without fail. Okay. Now start executing. You need to just remember the steps. You need to remember the steps.
Hello, ma'am. I am unable to install that test engine, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Done? Completed? Done? Everybody generated a report?
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody is talking to me. Sorry, I was on a call. Somebody called me, right? Who called me? I was on the call. That's the reason I just muted. So who called me?
Ma'am, it's me, Ninada, ma'am.
What happened, Inada?
Ma'am, I am unable to install test engine. Yes.
Why? I've given you two methods. No, both the methods you didn't install. Both the methods.
Both the method is not valid, ma'am. It's not working.
Look at both the method. Out of both the method, one method should work. Otherwise, update your Eclipse. What is your Eclipse version?
2019, ma'am. 201.
IDE, Eclipse IDE.
Yes, ma'am. Eclipse IDE.
Okay. One idea you do, start writing the programs. You cannot run it. Write the programs and keep. I'll check at the end of the class. Okay.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Write it. You cannot execute. At least write and keep it. Don't sit simply. Write it and keep it. So I will fix it. Then you can execute these programs later. Fine.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Done. Clear. Understood. Can we continue?
I have a question, sir.
Completed.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Completed. Understood, everyone. Steps to generate a report because it is very, very important. Everybody is clear? Can we continue? Let's start let's understand how to give the priority test case. Understood? Can we start?
Yes, ma'am.
Next case. Okay. Next. Please tell me, what do you mean by priority means what? Priority means what?
Directly you can reject the case.
The other give the importance.
Importance. How do you give the importance to the test cases? Priority. Okay. So, for example, today there is a function and there is a class. So, which you will decide whether this is important or class. You will take a priority. What is important? Correct, right? So, giving the priorities. Okay. So, that is importance. That is called priority. Let us understand about priority. Now, by default, priority is 0. What is by default? By default, priority is 0. If you don't specify any priority, by default, it is 0. By 0. We can give both, we can give both positive and negative priority. You can give both positive and negative priority. Okay. By default, your priority is 0. We can give both positive and negative priority. That means you can also give the test cases and also you can give a negative to the test cases. Okay. By default, priority 0. We can also give positive and negative test cases. Fine. Next. If you give negative and positive test cases, always that it will execute negative first. By default, it will be 0, then the positive. These are the execution order. Negative, 0, then positive. Okay. Next, if two test cases are having same priority, if two test cases are having same priority, it will execute based on alphabetical order. It will execute based on what? Alphabetical order. So let me repeat again. By default, priority is 0. We can give both positive and negative. If you have both positive and negative, negative takes the first priority. So if the two test cases are having the same priority, it will execute based on the alphabetical order. Okay. So what is priority? Priority is nothing but the importance given to the test cases. Importance given to the test cases. Write a heading priority. Copy this. Understood priority?
Yes.
Everybody understood priority?
Yes, ma'am.
Copy this.
Yes, ma'am.
Copy this. 3 points is there. Remember, learn in the class. Learn it in the class itself. Very simple. Nothing is there in this chapter. Very simple it is. Finished? Finished writing? Finished writing?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in that Eclipse, sidely we have a list of projects. No, that screen is not visible in my Eclipse. Then how to get back that, ma'am? What to click?
Click on help. Sorry, not help. Windows.
Okay.
Click on Windows. Show view. Package Explorer.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Now, look here. Let us give priority to the test cases. Look at my screen. Now, everybody stop writing. Look at my screen. Public void calls. Reporter dot log calls comma true. Import this annotation test from testng annotations. Import it from testng annotation. Calls settings calls settings chats calls settings and chats. Now everybody use WhatsApp application daily. You guys will keep using. Tell me which is first priority, which test case you want to give the first priority, which is a frequently used.
Chats.
Chats.
Basically, you are going to use what? Chats. So let me give a priority is equals to -1. Let me give priority is equals to -1. Let me give priority is equals to 1. Tell me the order of exit. Look at it, think it, and tell me. Tell me the order of execution of this program.
Chats. Then
Chat.
Chats call settings.
Settings.
Chats
Chats
call
will get
settings.
executed first because it is having the -1. Next, calls because by default is 0. Then setting. Let me run the program. Let me run the program. Is it executed? Is it executed?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Chats, calls, and settings. Very good. Now, I will keep it as priority is equals to +1. Tell me the order of no, wait. I'll keep it as -1. Okay. Tell me the order of execution of this.
Ma'am, now it will be
Calls and then calls. Setting calls. Settings calls.
First, chat get executed.
Chats.
Why chat setting should get executed first?
Alphabetical order. Alphabetical order.
Chats
Serial.
comes first.
Alphabetical order. That's the reason chats will get executed first. Chats get executed first, then settings, then calls. Understood?
Yes,
Understood?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Copy this. First, you write this in your notebook. Just copy this. Just copy this in your notebook. Quickly copy this in your notebook. Copy this in
Done, ma'am.
Okay, next. I'll give you what a time. Okay, next make a note. Invocation count. Make a note. Next is invocation. 1 second, my pen is not writing. Make a heading invocation count. Make a heading invocation count. Okay. Guys, what is this invocation count? Let me explain. Why do we use for loop? Why do we use for loop in Java?
To do repeated task.
Repeat it.
Looping.
Okay, next.
To execute
Okay.
same task.
For repeating same task more than once, we use invocation. We use for loop. Similarly, here also, if you want to execute the test case more than once, if you want to execute the, okay, you want to execute this. So what is invocation count? By using invocation count, we can execute the test script multiple times. You can execute it for multiple times. Okay, so this will determines what? How many times the test script should get executed? N number of times. N number of times you can execute. Something like your for loop. Something like your for loop, it behaves in your test engine. Okay, next. By default, invocation count is 1. Means by default it should get executed. By default the count should executed 1 time. Okay, your program should get executed 1 time. More than 1 time if you want to get used. By default invocation count is 1. Okay. Next. We cannot give negative integers. We cannot give negative integers or 0 to invocation count. Okay, we cannot give negative integers like how did we give for priority? Like that, we cannot use it. Okay, understood for what purpose we use invocation count?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Copy,
Yes, ma'am.
copy this. Copy this invocation count. Copy this. Finish copying?
Yes, ma'am.
Finish copy, everyone? Okay. Now, look here. Now, you tell me the execution flow of this. Tell me the execution. Tell me the execution. Tell me the execution, guys.
3 times.
Chats will be printed and calls.
So the chats will get executed for 3 times, followed by settings, then calls. Okay. Because it's a combination of both. You can only give invocation count. It's not like you have to give combination. You can give anything. Now, look here. Is your chats got executed for 3 times? Is your chats got executed for 3 times?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I can also give it like this. Don't think that I should give only with this. Now, tell me the order of execution of this. Tell me the order of execution.
Chats
Add
will get
settings
three
cost
times,
5
then
times.
then 5 times calls.
Setting is
Also.
5 times.
Now,
calls.
look here. Look here. Chats will get executed for 3 times and it is having a priority is -1. So this is having -0. So this will get executed for 5 times. Then you'll get calls. Okay. Now you see. Now you see. Is it executed? Chats got executed for 3 times, followed by settings 5 times and calls 1 time. Everybody understood? What's the use of invocation count? We use invocation count for what purpose? We use invocation count for performing. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Copy
Yes, ma'am.
this. Copy. First, you write it in your book. Write it in your book and write.
Even though priority is not given, it will be executed first. Settings.
Sorry, come again.
Even the priority is not given to the settings. This thing, it will get executed first, rather than call.
Listen.
Priority is 0.
Listen. Your priority is there. Since priority is there, so it is taking combination. Priority first, then if you don't give priority, by default priority is 0. No, this will get executed later. Got it?
Got it, ma'am. Fine.
Okay. Write this in your notebook. Write this in your notebook and execute this program. Both priority and invoke. You give any combination and run it. Write this.
Hello.
Guys, done? Understood invocation count and priority? Guys, done? Invocation count and priority is done?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, look here. Now, I want to skip the test case. I want to skip the test case. Skip means what? I don't want to execute. I don't want to execute the settings. I want to skip off. If I want to skip the test case, I will just write enabled is equals to false. I'll just write enabled is equals to false. So what is the how to skip the test case? I'll write enabled is equals to false. This will skip off your test case. Now, what is the output of this program? What's
Chats
output
will
of
be
this program?
executed 3 times. Calls.
Now run this. This is what? See, chats got executed 3 times and calls. Is this settings is got skipped?
Yes, ma'am.
Setting got skipped. Okay.
Yes,
Make a
ma'am.
note. Make a note. Heading to skip the test case. Make a heading to skip the test case. We use enabled is equals to false. To skip the test case, we use enabled is equals to false. To skip the test case, we use enabled is equals to false. Copy this. Copy this. Put it inside your code. Completed? Did you skip the test cases? Finished. That's completed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Now, let's start understanding the annotations. Okay. So everybody understood how to give priority, invocation count, test, skipping the test cases. Everybody understood? Everybody understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Let us try to understand annotations. Let us try to understand annotations. So what is this annotation? Annotation is nothing but a metadata. It's a metadata. Metadata means what? It consists of some sort of information. Okay. So what type of information? What we write? That type of information it consists of. Why we use why we use annotations in Selenium? For the controlled execution. For the controlled execution of the program. For the controlled execution of the program, we use annotation. Guys, in Java, there is a concept called as a static block. You remember? In Java, there is a concept. What is the use of static block? What's the use of static block?
It will always execute it first.
Correct.
Executed first.
Correct. So whenever you want to write any program to execute first, that you are going to write it in the static block. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Whenever you wanted to execute some piece of the program first, that you are going to write that program inside the static block. Then followed by the main method, it will get executed. Correct, right? Same thing. So why are you writing in a static block? Because you want some piece of the code to be executed prior. That's the reason you are going to write it inside the static block. Correct, right? Now, here in annotations, we have different annotations. Let's see what are the different types of annotations. We have annotation before suite. People will call it a suit or people will call it a suite. It is one and the same. Annotation before class. Annotation before test. Annotation before method. Next, annotation test method. Annotation after method. Annotation after test. Annotation after class. Next, we have annotation after suite. Okay, so we have annotations before suite, before class, before test, before method, after suite, after test, after class, after suite. Now, these are the annotations. Let's see how this will get executed. Always remember, annotation before suite and annotation after suite will get executed only once in the program. Will get executed only once in the program. After suite will get executed at last. At last. And it will get executed only once. So if you want to execute something only once throughout your program, that you are going to write it in annotation before suite and annotation after suite. So as a name tell, before class. So before the class, if you wanted to get executed, then you can use this before class. You wanted to execute something prior to your class, then you can use before class. Before your test method, if you wanted to execute some piece of the code, then you can before test. Okay, something like a static block is what to execute, when to execute, prior. Something like a precondition, when to write all these things. So before the test, you wanted to execute some piece of the code, then that we are going to write it here. Before method. Before that method get executed, this piece of the code will get executed. Annotation test. This is where the execution takes place. This is a starting point. Execution takes place only from this. If you don't have a main method, your Java program will not execute. If you don't have annotation test method, then your program will not get executed. Okay, are you understanding? So this will get executed. Execution takes place. This will get executed after the method set executed. This will get executed after your test get executed, and this will get executed after your class. Understood? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
copy this. Copy this. Copy this. After class, copy this. Can we run? Understood? Finish copying? Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Make a note. Make a note. They're going to ask you one question. Tell the make a note, order of execution of the annotation. Tell the order of execution of the annotation. This is how it will get executed. So first, before sweep will get executed first. Then before test. Before class. Next we have before method. Next. Test method. After method. After class. After test. After speed. Copy this. So the 100% default question they'll tell, explain the order of execution of the annotation. This is the order of execution. Learn and write it. Quickly, learn and write it. Write it soon.
That. Yes, ma'am.
So when will annotation test will execute?
Come again. What?
Where annotation test will execute in between this.
Sorry, Appa, come again.
Annotation test where exactly it will execute? Like, is it in between or at the beginning or end?
First, before speech will get executed, then annotation test. Before your test method, this whatever you write, this will get executed before your test method. Before the test method, this will get executed. Finished? Finish copying?
Yes,
now,
ma'am.
let us make use of this. Let us make use of this annotation and let's run the program. Okay, let us make use of this annotation. Let us run the program. Now, I want to automate one test case, guys. Okay, what I want to automate, I just wanted to automate one test case. So let me tell you one test case. I want everybody to tell me the test case, okay? Because you have already done. I want to automate one test case. I need to open the browser, enter the URL of facebook.com, enter username, password, click on login. Have you written this program prior?
Yes,
Have you all
ma'am.
written this program?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Already written. But same program we are going to write, but in an organized fashion. We are going to write same program, but in an organized fashion, we are going to write it. Look at here. You only tell me. You only tell me. Create a class. Test case number 1. Click on finish. Test case number 1. Click on finish. Now look here, guys. I am going to make use of annotation before method. I'm going to use annotation before method public void open app. Tell me, how do you open the application? Tell me the steps to open the application. Tell me the code. Same program. Tell me.
WebDriver.
Driver.
New Chrome driver.
I want everybody
Chrome
to
driver.
next.
Import.
Driver.
Okay.
Import.
Driver
Copy the URL.
Next.
Settings.
Now, tell me. This code you know or you're writing for first time? You know this code already?
Yes, ma'am.
But you are writing in what? Organized fashion. But you're writing in an organized fashion. You can ask me, why are we writing in this fashion? You'll understand later. Okay. Now, I want to enter URL, username, and password. Let me write annotation test, public void, test case number 1. Okay. Now, let me import annotation test annotations. Okay. Let me go and inspect this email address text box. Tell me by using which, okay, tell me the program. You already know. By using which locator?
ID.
Tell me the code. Tell me the Now, listen 1 minute, everyone. Now, driver dot find element I'm writing, but I'm getting an error near driver. Why? Because this driver access is only for local variable. You remember in Java, right? Local variable, global variable. This driver access is only for local variable. Okay, I want to declare it globally. What I want to do? I want it declare it globally. Public web driver. So declare it globally such that you can access it throughout. Remember, everybody does the mistake. Once after this, you need to remove this. Once after you declare, you need to remove this. See the color of the driver? Now it is changed into blue. That means we have declared it globally. Understood? You have to do global declaration such that you can access it throughout your class. Everybody understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now look at driver dot find the element by using ID, copy paste the value, dot send keys, type something. Okay. Okay. Now let me go and inspect password. Tell me by using which locator. Tell me the code. You already know this.
ID locator.
Driver dot
Okay. Click on login button by using what? Name locator. Driver dot find element
click.
I wanted to get the title. I want to print the title. Okay. Then I want to print it. How do you print it? Reporter dot log title, comma true. Okay. Next, driver dot get current URL. Store it inside one reference variable. The return type of this is string. Print it. Reporter dot URL, comma true. Okay. Now I want to close this annotation after method. Public void close. Tell me the program. How to close the program?
Driver dot close.
Let me run this program. Let me run this program. Now look at the execution. Look at the execution. Is it executing? Is it executing? Understood? The test case number 1 is clear? Okay. Now, test case number 2, I want you people to tell me. Test case number 2 is, listen the test case number 2. I want to open the browser, enter the URL of facebook.com. I want to click on forgotten password. I want to click on forgotten password. After clicking on forgotten password, I need to enter the mobile number. I need to click on search. I need to enter the mobile number. I need to click on search. This is my test case number 2. I will not tell you people. I will sit and write it. Okay. Tell me the code. So first, let me create a class. You people tell me. Test case number 2. Tell me the steps, everyone. You understood the scenario? Tell me the steps. Tell me the steps. Tell me the steps.
Public web driver
Public web driver.
Very good. Public web driver. Very good. Next. Import web driver. Import web driver. Very good. Next step.
before method.
Void.
Open app.
Driver equal to Chrome.
Driver equal to new Chrome driver.
No, driver.
Driver.
Driver
Only
equal to
driver.
Chrome driver.
Only driver.
Driver equal to new Chrome
Driver is equal to new Chrome driver.
web driver.
Okay, very good. Only driver. Okay.
Driver dot.
Manage that Google dot maximize. Driver dot create
Driver dot paste URL.
Driver dot manage dot I'm out
Seconds.
Next step.
A test method.
Driver dot
Driver
test
dot
case.
Public void.
Driver dot.
Driver dot final.
Let me go on inspect. Let me inspect this. Tell me the code.
XPath.
Next step.
Xpath.
By text.
Driver dot
And element by dot
Yes.
Link
test.
Okay.
Test.
Now, let me go on inspect this element. Now, inspect this element, mobile number. Now, by using
ID locator.
ID locator.
Driver dot find element
By ID. Paste the value. Dot is
okay.
search button.
Now let me go and inspect
the search button.
search text.
ID locator.
ID.
Driver dot find element by ID.
By ID. Paste the value. and
Click.
Report.
Dot log.
Report log.
dot long.
Next.
Dot.
Driver not get current people. Driver spelling. Driver dot.
Get current.
Okay. I want to close it. How do I close this?
At after method.
Driver dot close.
method.
Public
Public
after
void.
method.
Driver
Public
dot
void close.
Now let me run this program. Look at the execution. Look at the execution. Is it working? Is it working?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Now, one more test case we will execute. Last test case. Okay, we'll execute. Look at this. You surely tell me everything. I need to open the facebook.com. I need to open the browser. I need to enter the URL of facebook.com. I need to click on create a page. I need to click on create a page. After that, I need to click on get started. I need to click on create a page. I need to click on get started. Okay, now, so you tell me this complete test case. Okay, you tell me this entire test case. Okay, so let me create one class. Tell me, everyone tell me.
public web driver.
Public web driver.
Public web
At before method.
Annotation before method. Annotation before method.
Annotation before method.
Annotation before method.
Public void.
Public void STQS free open
Driver is equal to new.
driver is from driver.
Driver dot manage dot.
Driver dot manage dot window dot
Facebook.
fetch the Facebook URL.
Driver dot
Dot second.
Next.
Annotation test.
annotation test.
Public void STQS free
Find element.
Driver dot
Create. Link.
Link test.
Driver dot click.
Next.
It's
driver dot
link.
Link
Text.
Dot expert.
link text.
One of the
Driver dot
Driver dot
Driver dot
element
element
find
by
X
dot
bar
xbar
dot
dot click.
dot click. Reporter dot log
Dot log.
driver dot
Reporter dot
Reporter dot log.
report dot log driver dot get driver
get URL
get URL current URL
dot log driver
get
dot
current URL
Am I true?
and automation
station of the
Method.
And,
public void closer
App.
driver dot close
driver dot close.
Driver dot close.
driver dot close.
Okay, let me run the program. Is it executed? Is it executed?
yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Everybody understood how to write the test script? You want me to give one more example? Enough? Understood everyone how to write? Clear?
Understood, ma'am.
Clear, ma'am.
Yes, clear.
Everyone listen. You have test case number 1. You have test case number 2. You have test case number 3. Like this, you have test case number 1000. Will you sit and click on run button for 1000 times, 1000 test cases? No. Will you click on 100 times, 1000 times? Run, run, run. Will you click? Will you click on that run button 1000 times?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No. Why?
No,
I
ma'am.
need to hire one person only to click on run button. Run, check, run, check, run, check. Don't you think it is a manual process? Don't you think it is a manual process?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is a manual process. It is your manual process. Correct, right? Now what I need to do, I need to click on this run button only once. And all my test cases should get executed sequentially. Sequentially means one after the another. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Make a
Yes,
note.
ma'am.
Make a note. Make a note. Steps 2. Steps 2. Steps 2. Execute the program sequentially. Steps 2. Execute the program sequentially. Steps 2. Execute the program sequentially. Sequentially, nothing but one after the another. Steps to execute the program sequentially. Okay, now observe my screen, look at my screen carefully, then you do it. Okay, steps to execute the program sequentially. How do you execute the program sequentially? Look at this. Sequentially means what? One after the another. Sequentially means one after the another. Okay, look at the steps. Step number 1. Step number 1. Select all the test cases. Select, look at my screen, then you write. Select all the test cases. Look at my screen, then you write. Select all the test cases. Right click. Select all the test cases. Right click. Select all the test cases. Right click. Test in G. Test in G. Test in G. And click on Convert to Test in G. Test in G. And click on Convert to Test in G. Look at my screen. Make a note. Convert to Test in G. Okay. You get a pop-up. Generate testing.g.xml file. You will get a pop-up. Generate testing.g.xml file. Click on Finish. Click on Finish. You will get a pop-up. Generate testing.xml file. Click on Finish. Now, look at my screen. Testing.xml file is created. Testing.xml file is created. Where XML, testing means test next generation. XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. Testing stands for XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. Click on XML file. Click on XML file. And click on Run button. Click on Run button. Everybody look at my screen. Stop writing. Now you see it will run sequentially. All your test cases will get executed. See, first test case, it opens the browser, enters username, password, click on login, it closes. Test case number 2, it opens the browser, enters the URL, it will click on forgot password, and it will enter the mobile number. It will click on search and it will closes. Test case number 3. It opens the browser, enters the URL of facebook.com. It will click on create a page. It will click on get started. It is still loading. It is still loading. It will click on get started. It will close it. Is it executed all the 3 test cases? Which is better? Will you sit and learn one by one, or will you execute via testing.xml file?
Testing.xml is better.
Look at the console output. 3 test cases. See, title URL, title URL. Number of test cases run is 3, pass is 3, 0 failure. Generate a report. How do you generate a report for this? Tell me the steps to generate a report.
Click on project.
Right click on
Right click and refresh. Get the test output. Expand test output. Email data output.
And open
Open with web browser.
Here, all your test case number 1, 2, 3 passed. Title URL of all the test cases has been printed.
Yes, ma'am.
Understood? How do you see now without using these annotations? If I use it public static void main, can I run the sequential execution? Is it possible?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
I cannot run. Understood? How do you run the sequential execution? I'll repeat the steps once again. Simple. Select all the things, right click, testing, convert into testing. Testing.xml file is created, run it. Understood, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all. Okay. Now let me come here. Now, answer to my questions. yesterday's class, we have discussed about how do we download, install. In interview, they'll ask you the steps also. Explain the steps to download, install. So you can explain the methods I given yesterday. Now, tell me this. What is the default priority count? What is the default priority count?
Zero.
Okay. If two test cases are having the same priority, how it get executes it?
Alphabetically order.
If I give negative, positive, and 0, which will get executed first?
Negative,
Zero and positive.
Okay. Invocation count. What is the default count of invocation count?
One.
How do you skip the test cases?
Enable.
What is the use of annotations?
Controls execution of program.
The program. Tell me the order of execution of your annotations.
Before
test,
before class,
before class,
Before method, test method, after test, after test, after suit.
After suite. Okay. Now, next. Okay. Tell me the steps to run the program sequentially. Steps to run the program sequentially. What will you do?
select all the test cases.
All the cases.
I say right click, change
Get the XML file.
convert to test ng,
Pick an XML file and
click on finish,
Test
test ng XML file is generated,
XML file is generated. XML
click on XML and click on run button.
click on XML file and click on run button.
Convert to test.ng then? Convert to test.ng then?
Click on
Generate testing.
Click on XML file and click on run button.
Is generated XML.
Click on run button.
Next. How do you generate the report automatically? What are the steps to generate the report?
Refresh.
Right click
And right click on test
Project.
right click on folder.
Right click on
Test output, expand.
Paste output folder is generated. Expand that folder. Right click on enablable reports.html.
Open with web browser.
Open with web browser. Everybody understood? Clear, easy, nothing is there. Very simple. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, other things, parallel execution, assertion, this we will discuss in tomorrow's class. Okay. This we'll discuss in tomorrow's class. Okay. Everybody understood? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Very simple. Nothing is there. Very simple. Nothing is there. Okay. Go back to your interview questions. Please make a note of interview questions. What is test.ng? What is test.ng? What is test.ng? What is test.ng? Next, explain the steps to download and install test.ng. Explain the steps to download and install test.ng. Explain the steps to download, install, and explain steps to download, install test.ng. Next, explain priority. Explain priority. What is the default count of priority? 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 What is a default count of priority? Next, what is invocation count? What is invocation count? What is the default invocation count? What is the default invocation count? What is the default invocation count? Next, how do you skip the test cases? How do you skip the test cases? Next, what is annotation? What is annotation? Explain the order of execution of annotation. What is annotation? Explain the order of execution of annotation. Next, explain the steps to run multiple test cases at the same time. Explain the steps to run the multiple test cases at the same time. Explain the steps to run the multiple test cases at the same time. Explain the steps to run the multiple test cases at the same time. Explain the steps to generate the report. Explain the steps to generate the report. Explain the steps to generate the report. Next, explain. I'll give the questions at a short. Make a note that we'll understand. Explain parallel execution. You make a note of the questions. Explain parallel execution. Next, explain the steps to rerun the failed test cases. Explain the steps to rerun the failed test cases. Explain the steps to rerun the failed test cases. What is assertions? Explain the types. What is assertion? Explain the types. What is assertion? Explain the types. Next, what is difference between assert and soft assert? What is difference between assert and soft assert? What is difference between assert and soft assert? Okay, everybody understood? Okay, this we will learn tomorrow. I've just given the questions. Everybody understood? Clear till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, people who are attending a drive, this is also part of it. This is also part of it. Learn it and execute this testng.xml file. Let's catch up tomorrow and let's continue. Thank you, everyone. I'll be pushing the code. Thank you. Bye-bye. Let's catch up tomorrow and let's continue.
Hello, ma'am.